At this point, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has had over 10 shows, nearly 30 films, and hundreds of characters. Hundreds to choose from as your favorite character. But one of the most fascinating and interesting characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least for me, is Thor.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson.
Tonight I'm seeing Thor Love and Thunder. I'm very excited about it. I love Taika Waititi's approach to the character. I like that he's willing to get weird.
Jane?
But Ragnarok isn't my favorite Thor film. My favorite is, and has been for a while, the first film. In getting prepared for Thor Love and Thunder tonight, I decided to watch last night Thor's 1 and Thor the Dark World. The Dark World is serviceable. It's nothing entirely special, but the first film, for me, is special. There was something about this recent screening of Thor. When I watched it, I was surprised about how much it really touched me. And I think that sentiment is due to the benefit of hindsight. Seeing where Thor is versus where he started as this very arrogant prince, as someone who had no shame. To see someone like that pegged down and for him to be humiliated to the point where he can accept that he is actually decent. There's something about that story that is very real and is needed for a lot of people. I feel like the first Thor film is very underappreciated because it is kind of basic. In terms of its story, there's nothing terribly spontaneous or anything that's really shocking, but there is heart. And I think that heart is portrayed very well by the director, Kenneth Branagh, who's a very honest filmmaker. He's someone who took Thor, the comics, took that Jack Kirby type of aesthetic and brought Shakespeare sensibilities to it, and it translated really well. A really great example of this is in the scene between Loki and Odin, where they're talking about his lineage, they're talking about his true parentage, where Loki comes from, and that character is defined by that moment in ways that even the current series is still piggybacking off of. I love a lot about that film watching it. I love the conflict between Thor and Loki. Because of the conflict strength presented in this film, it lasted up until Infinity War. If it didn't work here, then it wouldn't work afterwards at all. And also, this film was an introduction to the MCU in terms of magic, in terms of other dimensions, in terms of space. This was a film that broke a lot of ground for this universe. We wouldn't get Doctor Strange or Guardians or anything of the sort without this film working so well. I love so many aspects of this film, whether it be the music, the cinematography, the sets, the moment when Thor becomes worthy again. And seeing where Thor is now coming into Thor Love and Thunder as more happy-go-lucky. I've heard this new movie is kind of described as a midlife crisis for Thor. It's interesting to see where he started off in his youth. And I kind of missed that Thor, to be quite honest. I like the Thor a lot that makes jokes and, is goofy, but the ending of this film where he's mourning his brother, where he tells Odin that there will be never a wiser king than him, I miss that. And I suggest to those who didn't think much of the first film, watch it again. Maybe it'll touch you in a way that you weren't expecting it to, because that's what happened with me last night. I actually got pretty emotional watching some of the scenes in the original Thor because I just think Kenneth Branagh really did knock it out of the park, and I really wonder what the franchise would have been if he had stayed on with The Dark World and even Ragnarok and now Love and Thunder. What do you guys think? Do you think that the first Thor film is underrated? Do you think it's right where it needs to be, or do you think it's not even worth mentioning? Have a good one. Stay safe, guys. Let us know what you think. Do the YouTube regulars. Enjoy Thor Love and Thunder, and goodbye.